much indeed. Let's make sure that we're going to YouTube. I think that's about to happen. And some nice news headlines, including in the press today, because I wanted to write about it so desperately. The lovely weekend that we had in Battaglia. While I'm doing that, Astrid or Jerry, wasn't that a fantastic weekend? Really wonderful get together. Hello?
Yes.
A lot of
Yes.
fun.
Sorry,
He's
Astrid.
the
I
right
saw you
answer.
taking breath. I thought you were going first, Astrid. You go ahead.
I was. We had a great time. I
It's so
can't
good.
fault anything really.
Yeah.
It was a fantastic tour of the monastery. The hotel was amazing. The food was great. Everything was good. So absolutely no complaints.
Wonderful. Okay. Yeah, that's what I wanted to share with you. I've written this week. It's published today actually. And in my haste, I've lost a bit of my presentation there. In my haste to put that, that's hot off the press this morning. That's a photo I took of the monastery as we stepped out of the bar on Saturday evening, and there it was. I mean, there can't be that many places in the world that are so quiet and so beautiful. And we pretty much had it to ourselves, didn't we? The town at that time of night, at this time of year, and there it was, this most magnificent monastery that we'd had a tour round with Philomena earlier on that same day. I had an Irish whiskey in my belly after a fantastic dinner, and how lovely to walk back past the monastery that evening. So thanks for making that happen, Astrid and Jerry, on that, and it was really great to be there. As I'm sure other people who were there as well will let us know in the chat, if you will. That'll be wonderful. So read about that in the Portugal Resident, in print today, and I'm sure it'll be on their website soon as well. This also this week I found interesting. Best wine. This will be controversial. I wonder what Gilda thinks of this. Best wine of 2024 announced, and it was the Pé Franco de Valares. I don't know if that's anything to do with Pedro Franco. It's a 2020 from Anadia, made by the maverick winemaker Luis Pato. So it's a Bairrada. You might expect that it will be a Douro wine that takes that prize. But Wine Magazine, they have a huge award ceremony every year. They've just done that up in Porto. And they've got all sorts of categories for their Hall of Fame for Revista de Vinhos here in Portugal. But the best wine was, I don't know if anyone's tried that, and if they've got a first-hand experience and they want to let us know their opinion on that, or if they think something else should have won, do let us know, and I'll go straight to Gilda for a comment on that after this last. Also from we've got one from the Resident, two from the Portugal News this week. They are the English language newspapers until you're ready to read the news in Portuguese. Look at this. This is a surprise this week. Portuguese cuisine, one of the most difficult to master in the world. A new study has revealed that the most challenging cuisines for tourists to learn to cook are ranking the Portuguese recipes second, ahead of French and Indian dishes. And you can see them there. This surprised me. I think Portuguese food is quite simple, really, but maybe it's hard to recreate those great flavors. It's a lot to do with fresh ingredients, I think, here. What's being said here, and this is a villa company that you can find out more about, who conducted this survey. They put Chinese food at the top, which, I mean, I guess we'll give them that. But Portugal second, followed by Greece, India, and Vietnam. Portugal emerged as a close contender for the top spot, ranking second globally with intricate pastries and seafood dishes. I think that's a cataplana that is shown there in the picture. The study found that the pastel de nata. This is why it's complicated. And I don't know if who here has tried to make a pastel de nata at home. Why would you do that, first and foremost, when so many good ones exist in the cafe? But the people who make them in this country is one of the most difficult dishes to recreate. It has 14 ingredients and over 145 minutes of preparation. I can be down in my cafe locally and back home in 145 minutes, having eaten several pastel de nata. So there's no need to do that, and I think that's probably why they're saving us from this, from the misery of making them, and just going straight to the cafe and having the joy of eating them. There's some news for you this week. What do you make of that? Should we go to Gilda first? Good evening to you, Gilda. How are you?
Good evening. How are you?
Hello. Well,
Well, so no one asks you, so
okay.
you should tell me, it's so nice of you, Jill, that you're asking me how I am. But no, you are not being
No, no, no.
polite.
Thank you very much. It didn't go unnoticed. I just thought you'd have a really quick opinion on best Portuguese wine and Portuguese food, there being the second hardest in the world.
Yes, I do have. Well, the wine is from Luís Pato. I don't know
Yes.
that specific wine, but all the wines that I've tasted from him,
Mm.
I like a lot. Okay. So I trust that it's a good one, like all the others that I have tasted from Luís Pato.
Yes.
As far as it concerns to the Portuguese cuisine, I agree because we have so many, I was watching the TV the other day and I was watching how to make an alheira.
Oh, right. Yeah, because that's the top sausage in the world as well, isn't it?
Yes, it's the
Yes.
top sausage in the world.
Yeah.
And it takes like a lifetime to do
Right.
it. And I was like, come on, what is this? This is crazy. I
Yeah.
love alheira and I never thought that it took so much time and effort to do this. And
Yes.
like alheira, we have so many other dishes that take such a long time and have these secret in the ingredients that no one tells us about. And then it needs to rest for a while, and then we need to go there, and then we put hot water, and then we put cold water, and then we put outside, and then we put in the freezer, and then it goes into the oven, and it's really crazy. So
Yes.
it doesn't surprise me. I think that the person that did that study really went deep into things.
Well, fair enough. Okay, thank you for your insight on that. Yes, the Alheira sausage, it was voted by World Atlas as the top sausage in the world. It's and it's an amazing time for Portugal. It continues to be. How is it on the front line of migration, Gilda?
Okay, so we have some news this week because we have a law that was approved by the president, and it will bring some changes to those that are from Portuguese-speaking countries. It will make the process easier. What is going to happen is that someone that arrives from those countries with a short-term visit, with a short-term visa, or with a tourist visa, they can find a job and ask for a residency permit, as it used to be with the manifestação de interesse. So
Right.
this is going to be a reality that it's going to continue, but only for the Portuguese-speaking countries.
Okay, and so
Only they are going to give it another name,
right.
of course. It's going to be called the residency permit for the PALOP, Portuguese speaking countries,
Okay.
so that you don't make they don't try to make you feel that it's another kind of manifestação de interesse, but in reality, it's going to be the same.
Okay, all right. And are you welcoming that? And what impact will that have on IMA generally? Because that's what everyone else here, I guess, is concerned about is processing time. And is that going to be a contribution and general improvement?
I have mixed feelings because on one hand, I think that we still have to hire foreign manpower to do all the jobs that we cannot do in Portugal because we don't have enough people to do it. On the other hand, there are two things that surprise me. One of them is that I think this is a little bit selective only for this type of this group of people, Portuguese-speaking countries, and they are leaving behind the other nationalities.
Yes,
And
okay.
yeah, and also I don't think I don't know when it's going to be in force, but I don't know, I don't think that they have the capacity of processing this kind of processes now
Yeah.
while they are dealing with the backlog.
I get your point there because many of the workers that Portugal arguably needs come from other countries other than the Portuguese speaking countries. So yeah, that
Yes.
is the change, I suppose, there, isn't it?
But this is a kind of thing that they want to change
Yeah.
because what they say in between doors, they
Yes.
don't come to the news to say this. What they
No,
say
fair
in
enough.
between doors is
Yes.
that, oh, because their culture is more alike than ours, and because they speak their language and they have
Yes.
the same religion as us. So, yes, I
Okay,
think
very
it has to do
interesting.
with that.
Very interesting. Thank you for that. Anything else from migration or Casa Portuguesa this evening?
No, I hope that after making this statement, I will be able to come here next week.
Okay, it's far more controversial than it sounded, perhaps. Then, okay, we shall see. All right, okay, right. Well, I shall just move on in that case
Yes,
and go
please.
to a dear friend who we haven't seen for a while, Luis Duarte from GIR. How lovely to see you, Luis. How are you? Tudo bem? A wave is fine. It's been so long. I don't. It's okay. Oh,
Hello.
there you are.
Yeah,
There you are.
I
How are
was just
you?
trying to unmute this. Very good. And yourself?
Yes, excellent. Thank you very much. Yeah, what you been up to, and how's life at GIR?
Well, GIR it keeps on growing.
Yes.
Sometimes it's a little bit struggling, but it's doing good. It's doing very
Great.
good.
Right.
Yeah, we are improving quite a lot. A lot of good stuff going on.
Yes, and you are bringing and one of the key pieces of news from GIR is that other than cats and dogs, other pets are now being brought into the country by your pet relocation team, right?
Yeah, we had Rita taking a course on exotic birds, so we are able to bring those guys in and to be able to support on that area. Still not in the horses and all but that stuff. I did it in the past, but not now.
Did you?
So
Okay.
I did. It
Right.
was actually I did it a lot. I did a lot of horses
Did you?
all at
Luis
the
the
same time.
cowboy. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it
Right.
was quite difficult, tell you what.
Wonderful, wonderful. So great to have you here.
Thank
Met some of
you.
your colleagues at the weekend at Battaglia. It was great to see them. Any other news then on developments in the company? We did talk about your services for importing vehicles, of course, in the
Yeah,
last session.
we
Anything
did.
else you want to share with us?
Well, we have throughout. Actually, I had a earlier meeting today with Gary and Astrid, and I was talking about Global International. Right now, we have like a bonded warehouse. This was the thing that we were struggling to get for a long, long time.
Yeah.
And as Gilda was saying, about how Portuguese laws and stuff go, so for those licenses were also a very big struggle. We finally got it. And
Oh,
so
well
this is
done.
a very good thing for us because we are able to manage groupages in a much better way.
Very
So
good.
this is something for us to also go in the future to be able to, get more competitive in these markets. So we'll
Wonderful.
see
Okay.
how it goes. Yeah,
All right.
but
Great to see you
rather
here
than
this
that,
evening.
very
Any
good.
questions about relocation, moving things to Portugal and out of Portugal? It also has to be said. Luis Duarte is here from Global International Relocation. What's the most interesting or strange country you've dealt with just recently? Because, we have kind of usual suspects, don't we? But you go all over the world and welcome people from all over the world.
Yeah, we have done, it's not very common to do the French islands, the ones that they own, but they're French, but they're not in
Right.
France,
Yes.
you
Okay.
know.
Yeah.
So yeah, we did one of those. I don't remember now the name, but it was a tough thing to do because those remote islands, you don't have actually a lot of agents. You have to bring them from other places
Oh,
to
wow.
be able to then do the moves on those areas. So. It's interesting, we get it done,
Yeah.
but it's always an achievement to say. And then
Wonderful.
all the rest, Philippines and all that stuff, it's all going on. So
Very good.
it's
Exotic or exotique, I guess you might say, in those French islands. Thanks, Luis, for being here. Great to see you again. Let's go straight to Nuno. Nuno Mensch from Winsurance. How are you? Are you on your own tonight, Nuno?
If I am
Are
at
you on
my
your
home,
own?
yes,
You're often
yes.
with a group of personnel.
No, no, I wanted a rest
Oh, okay,
because
they've been busy.
we
Right.
are having hard times. Yes, very, very
Right.
busy. So today I didn't send the link to anyone.
Well, just
No,
you
no,
here
no, because I
manfully.
know that you are going to appear there. No, no, I want that to rest.
Oh, good on you. What a great leader you are. How are you? How's the world of insurance?
Okay, so contrarily at this crazy and unpredictable world, the world of
Yes.
insurance is pretty predictable and steady. So
Good.
no much things to talk about.
Hmm.
Only that the brand Liberty Insurance has disappeared this year. So they are bought by the Italians Generali. It is a worldwide, very well-known insurance group. Regarding health, the Minister of Health said 2 days ago that the Portuguese state is somehow checking for the assistance that they are doing on the public system, especially on hospitals, to people that are not part of the SNS.
Mhm.
And the majority of the situation, like 40%, was detected at Gondomar area, so Hospital Fernando Pessoa, the west coast, so from Leiria, Caldas da Rainha, and Torres Vedras, and also in Algarve. It corresponds to 40% of all the cases that the Portuguese state is trying to somehow charge the persons to get the reimbursement for the cost.
Yeah.
And that's all.
Okay. All right. So nice to hear that it's stable in the world of insurance.
Yes, 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 yes. And regarding the topic that you
Yes.
start the conversation
Cuisine. Yes.
with Jill, let me say that there is an important ingredient, which is the Portuguese soul,
Yes. Yeah, you
which
can't buy that,
is
can you?
difficult to replicate. Yes.
Right. Okay. I wonder who's working on that. Who is it who makes those condiments? You know, all the little chili sauces and Paladin. Maybe Paladin are working on a little sort of droplets of Portuguese soul that you can put into. I'd buy it. I'd definitely buy it.
It could
So, and I
be.
might come back to you all because it was a survey about what was difficult for tourists to cook. So I think people come to Portugal, as you know, go around the world and they want to buy the ingredients and cook something at home, you know, if they're self-catering. I'm going to come back to you later to find out what you'd recommend, all of you. And I know Luis cooks as well. He's put, yes, come
Well,
on, Luis, please chip
yeah,
in.
well, I do cook, and when I was 18, I was actually starting. Well, my parents had a small production of stuffed squid, lula
Yes,
chiada. I
yes,
guess all the Portuguese know what's this, but when I say this into an American, for instance, he's like, "Oh, that sounds funny, stuffed squid. What is that stuff?" So. It was, but it's a very good thing and very tough to make as well. That part I know. So tell me
yes.
what.
Well, do you know, it's really weird because I saw some lulash in the supermarket and I thought I spoke to somebody about somebody who had a business stuffing those. And I couldn't remember who it was. And it was
It was
you, wasn't
me.
it? It was you who
Yeah,
does
yeah,
that.
it's
So,
me.
okay, we may come back to you for that suggestion for our cultural question tonight, but we'd like a recipe from you, Portuguese people, that people could try at home. That's not going to be too difficult, not like a pastel de nata, but maybe something a little bit easier than that. And obviously, you're going to be really there with your stuffed squid. I think, Luis, and the cocktail stick that holds it together and that kind of thing. So we'll come back to you on that. Let's talk to Pedro Franco, but I'm sure who's got something to say about the food and the wine tonight. But how's it in the world of finance, Pedro?
Hello, everyone. Well, it's the finance world is busy with Trump and with all this taxation on imports and exports. So everyone is talking about this.
Yeah.
But from a Portuguese tax perspective, there are not many. There's nothing new. So
Yeah.
business as usual, which is not bad.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it? And the other
Um,
bit of news about the Iberian
yeah.
miracle, you know, we're in that as well, aren't we? Which is wonderful.
In what? Sorry, Carl?
The Iberian miracle, where Spain and Portugal have helped the whole Eurozone to
Yeah,
stay, yeah,
yeah,
in a fairly healthy financial position.
it is. It is. In Portugal, it's definitely the tourist sector.
Yeah.
So this sector is thriving, and we must preserve it, I guess, because it's been the engine of the Portuguese economy.
Yes, yeah. I hear a slight caveat there. It is important, isn't it, for Portugal to develop other ways of generating an income and long-term sustainability.
Completely. So
Yeah.
it's very narrow. So we are highly dependent right now on tourism. As we were many years ago, for example, in tourism, we were only focused, many years ago, we were only focused on golf. And when there was a crisis, we were focused on the people from the UK and from Germany, and they stopped coming. And so it's on this side, we have diversified our tourism, and now we have tourism based on wine experiences, on so a lot of different experiences other than golf, than golf courses.
Yes.
And this was good. But in terms of macro sector, we are highly dependent on tourism, so we should also invest in other sectors.
I think that's a fascinating subject, and it's something we're going to pick up, Jerry. I think, isn't it? Talking to the expats who've come over with business experience who want to support the younger entrepreneurs here. I think we do need a roundtable on that, don't we? And bring that all that latent energy and expertise to help this country if that's what's required and needed. Jerry.
Yes, absolutely, Carl. And Gilda and I have already had discussions on this, and I think I think we're going to pick this up later this month, and hopefully we'll have something we can announce in the next few weeks. Fingers crossed.
There's something in the air, isn't there? Because I was talking to an Expats Portugal member. I don't know if they want to share that news right now, but they had an initiative in central Portugal along the same lines. There's definitely something in the air, which is very exciting around this. So yeah, a good subject to talk about, and more to come on that. Thanks, Pedro. Is there anything else you wanted to add?
Just coming back to the topic, the initial topic, very quickly.
Yes.
Just on the wine side. That wine, Luís Pato, is made of a type of grape which is baga.
Yeah.
It only grows on that area, it's limestone, the type of soil, and it's very acid, but very fresh. And usually baga, it gives 10 wines made of baga, 9 are terrible, and 1 is very good. And this one was very good. So it's excellent. So I
He's a
highly recommend
remarkable
it.
man as well. Him and his daughter, I think Philippa, her name is. They run the most amazing vineyard, a winery there, and he's a maverick, isn't he? In the wine industry, on his labels, you can see him sticking his tongue out and making faces on the label. He's an extraordinary character. Maybe he's a good subject for an Expats
Yeah,
Portugal webinar.
like a rebel. Yeah.
Great stuff. Thank you for that. Let's go to João Amaral, who I hope has had a little bit of a rest since the last webinar, where he was getting praise after praise, praise upon praise for his fantastic service. Something I was going to mention tonight, João, one of the news stories, is it looks like one of the best-selling cars is a Peugeot as we go into the new year. Is that right? Peugeot are topping the tables?
Yes. Good evening, everyone.
Hi, João.
Yes, Peugeot is the best-selling car in Portugal, new cars. They are the best-selling cars for 2 or 3 years now.
Do you agree with that analysis? Or
for me, it's not the how can I say it's not a technical choice for me. It's just because they are beautiful cars, and people normally buy it because they are beautiful. There are some problems that have been resolved for the brand. Okay, now it's much better than 3 or 5 years ago. Okay, but to be the best selling, how can I say it? It's not my first choice, but it's always about taste. So I like other brands. Some people we don't like all the same. Okay,
Yes,
so
fair enough.
but it's fair. It's fair. They have good cars. They have much models. They have hatchbacks. They have city cars. They have SUVs. They have 7 seats. They have electric. They have hybrids. They have petrol. So they have a large spectrum of cars. So it's fair. It's fair enough.
Well, as we heard, I mean, you go with your client's taste, don't you? And you ask them a lot of questions, you find out what they want, and you guide them towards a good result. So if it ends up being a Peugeot, then fair enough. But there's all sorts of questions and things you ask.
I also give my personal taste as well. Okay. The fundamental thing it's the client and his needs. Okay. But I always put a little bit of my taste and my knowledge and my technical things to the equation. Okay.
Almost like a hybrid.
Yes,
A
almost
hybrid
like an hybrid. Yeah, yeah,
okay.
that's it.
Very good. Thanks, João. And if you rewatch the webinar when we post it up on Sunday night, you'll see how much love there is for João Amaral and the Rige cars as a service. So many happy customers who were delighted to talk about you tonight. It was really lovely to hear, João. So thanks for all the great work you're doing.
It was very, very, very good to hear from them.
Your whole family should sit and watch that video with you. It'll be lovely for them to see. They'll be very proud of you, I'm sure. We're going to stay with you, and if there are any other Dream Team panelists, town hall folks here from the companies, and I've missed you, please make yourself known to me. I did it. This happened to me last week with Alexandra. She sat through the webinar, and it was my great embarrassment to only see her at the end. I was able to apologise to her in person in Battaglia. So if you are here from the Dream Team and I haven't seen you, please put yourself forward or just shout out. We're staying with João. And by the way, this is a Q&A. This is a town hall. We need questions from you as well. It's fascinating to hear everyone's opinions and their updates from their industry, but we need questions as well. So pop those into the chat if you will. And those first questions are coming through. João from MI, we did cover this, but I think it's good to do it here as well. Do you have government subsidies for EVs? And I know Nuno will add something to this, but what do you make of the subsidies for EVs, as well as what's your first choice for electric vehicles for you from Shay and Sarah as well? So subsidies and your favorite EVs, João.
From subsidies, there are some for companies and for individuals. Okay. I don't know, as I am a little bit far from the new cars. Okay. I am out of the new cars from 1 year and something. Okay. So I'm not, I don't know specific that, but I know that there are subsidies in companies and in individuals. Okay, I know that last year I think it was 4,000 euros, but you have to apply for that, and you may or may not be chosen. Okay. So first you have to buy it and pay it, and you don't know if you will get the subsidy or not.
Oh,
so
okay, that's risky, isn't it?
It's very unfair for
like
me.
A windfall if it happens at all. Okay.
Yeah, because they set a budget. Okay, and the budget, when the budget it's over, it can over in 1 month or in 6 months. We don't know. Okay,
that does sound unfair.
When the budget is over, you are not allowed to receive anything, and you already paid the car.
Wow. Okay. Thank you for that. And I know Nuno's got something to add to this. What your favorite brand?
I don't have favorites. I think all the brands and all the cars are good for a certain thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you tell me the best car to the best electric city car,
yep,
I won't tell a Tesla, okay, or a BYD Seal, okay. They are good cars, but not for that usage, okay.
Yep. They're made for driving, right? They're made for driving and better suited to long distances. Yeah.
I like them all. I think they all have positive aspects. I don't have a favorite. I think as we normally say here, the right answer is depends.
Absolutely. We're going to get some t-shirts with that on.
Yeah.
We really must at some point. Or when we have our own wine label, Jerry, how about the first wine we make is the it depends in Portuguese, obviously. Thanks, João. And really, Shay and Sarah, the answer possibly to your question is like, what's your favorite brand? And why not have a chat about that with João, and he'll give you his opinion, and you can start a process with him on that. Nuno, did you want to add something on subsidies as somebody who's perhaps taken advantage of that?
Yes, so the biggest advantage is for companies. So companies can deduct a tax called IVA, up to 12,500 euros, I believe. Okay, I believe this is the number. For individuals, it's like João Amaral said. So they set annual budget for the government set annual budget to subsidies, and then if you are one of the first, you will get the subsidy. Otherwise, so sorry. Nevertheless, I think that the subsidy, yes, we like it, but should not be what drives the decision.
Yeah, fair enough.
Regarding what kind of car you buy.
And it came up in the last session, Nuno, about cost. And I mentioned you because you're known as the spreadsheet guy, aren't you? And I think you're a big fan of the Tesla, of EVs. You've made the conversion. And did you want to add any more about that? Because you really are. I think you were suspicious at first, but it seems to me you're a complete convert now to the whole EV world.
Yeah, I am. I confess that I used to love my Tesla. In this moment, I'm having strange feelings.
Sorry, I nearly spat my coffee out then.
But
yeah.
let's go.
Right. Okay.
But yes, it's a different species. It's not about the car.
Yeah.
It's about the experience that you can have.
Yeah.
That you have.
That's you're a big fan of that side of things, aren't you? Politics aside.
Yes.
Great. Okay, thanks, Nuno, for that. Like the rest of us with Teslas, says Carlene as well. There's a sticker available, I think, that some people have bought online. Which we may hear more about, we might not. Okay, and a question from Nick, which is a good one, about buying a vehicle in a rental property. That's not a problem. If it's your address, it's your address, right, João? Are there any difficulties registering a vehicle if you're living in a rental property? It's just the address you're using, right?
Yes, it's not a problem. It's your address, so we normally we need the address because the document of the car should go to your address.
Yeah,
it can be a rental property, it can be a borrow property, it can be your own property. We just need to have an address for you to receive the document. Okay.
Yes. Okay.
And it can be anything. Okay?
All right,
it's not a problem.
Hope that helps, Nick. Let's go to Gilda now. And thank you for your other comments, Laronda, which I'll come back to about cooking and others who've made comments about cooking, because I think it's an interesting subject tonight. Laronda is asking of you, Gilda, have the dates of the FBI apostilles been extended to 6 months validity? Before I did this sort of work, I would not have known what an FBI apostille was. It just sounds like a medieval thing almost, doesn't it? But is that what's happening there? Have the dates of the FBI apostilles been extended to 6 months validity?
Well, first of all, Carl, for a little bit of your education.
Thank you.
All the documents that are issued from one country to be official documents to be valid in another country, they should have an apostille.
All right.
Okay. So we are talking about birth certificates, marriage certificates, and most recently criminal records. Why? Because before, as they were sent by the FBI in a sealed envelope in the United States, the consulates used to accept them without an apostille. But then, and in my point of view, they did well. They started to ask the apostille because it's the same standard procedure that they have for the other countries.
Right.
So the apostille can be valid for 6 months, but the criminal record is still only valid for 90 days, so 3 months.
All right. Thank you very much. That was for Oh no, that was
Carla Ronda.
Yes, thank you very much indeed. Right, okay. Yes, La Ronda, of course. And now, we are talking more about EVs, I think, and alternatives. We may well come back to that. You had a question though, Gilda. Oh, before we go on to that, Clint says, Gilda, a huge thanks to Mariana at EI who helped me be prepared for the VFS in San Francisco on Tuesday. It's an all important part of the service, isn't it? Preparation and representation. VFS said I was extremely well prepared, and that is because of Mariana and EI. So there you go. There's a nice bit of feedback for the morning there. You asked, how was Battaglia? Your absence was notable, quite frankly, and hopefully you'll join us on another weekend. But it was superb, and I see that Thea and Teresa and other people who were there are also here tonight. Does anybody want to say how they found Battaglia? Not as in it was on the N1, but how their experience of Battaglia. If you want to tell us more about you, what a lovely time you had there, please.
I know Battaglia. I want to know what you did, what you drink, what you chat. I want to know all that.
Well,
the dark details.
Okay, on the Sunday night, at the Sunday afternoon, the lunch, Casarao, an amazing restaurant that Astrid found, and I guess what I had. I thought of you because the subject of grilling fish came up. I had Grupa e Camarão on espetada. It was these fantastic skewers of fish, fresh fish, and prawns. Shrimps, and it came with like a migas and an assorda as well. This restaurant is superb, and if we can, we'll put the link to it in the chat. There were so many highlights. Filomena's tour of the monastery was fantastic as well. The Burro Velho, the old donkey restaurant, we went to their bar. That was superb as well. It was a lovely weekend. And the hotel, the Lis Battaglia Hotel, recommend that too. They looked after us really well. Proudly independent and very professional. So it was great.
Oh, it seems it was like a great weekend.
Yeah, the only problem was you weren't there. Right, Larissa, you put your hand up, and I think you've got a further question, perhaps. Good to see you.
Good to see everyone here. I do have a further question.
You go ahead.
So if the FBI report expires in 90 days, but the apostille expires in 6 months, what do I do? Because that's my situation now. I have an expired FBI report, but a good apostille. Do I get another FBI report, or do I have to do the whole thing all over again, the apostille and everything?
Well, most likely they won't accept because the criminal record is expired.
Right. So I have to get a new one.
Yes.
But the apostille is still good. So what what do I do? Do I get a new apostille because I'm getting a new FBI report, or?
You will need to do another process.
Okay.
Or you can try to deliver that one and see what they say. But but I think it can be risky. And
I don't need risky with this.
Yeah.
Because risky will have you starting from square one all over again.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks.
Okay, Laronda, thank you for being here. Also here, Jose, who is says there are many alternatives to Teslas. I think you're being invited to share a few other brands as well. There, BYD came up earlier on. Yes, there are lots of good options to Tesla, you say, today. And Nuno also, yes, thank you everybody for your EV chat behind the scenes there. But not a fan of the Tesla customer service, impersonal customer care conversation going on between Jonathan and Nuno behind the scenes there. Good evening to folks over on YouTube, to you, OLP and JMC and Squire of the Shires. Is Spartan FX on tonight? We could take a message I think, this evening for Spartan FX, if you'd like us to do that. Oregonians loving Portugal. And Bobby M says, hey team, Gilda indicated previously that people whose residency expired in August were now receiving contact from the IRN to renew. Mine expired in September, so I'm hoping my email is imminent. But does Gilda know the typical gap between the email and the actual appointment offered? Renewing my residency is top priority, says Bobby M, but I also have pressing obligations in my native country in March, and I'm assessing if I should make any plans to return. An awkward situation to be in there, Gilda. What would you say about that?
Well, I have to say that no one is going to send you an email. You need to chase them.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
You need to chase them. You need to send them an email. And if you have an urgent situation, you need to explain them the situation so that they can give you an appointment. Because otherwise, they are not going to send you an email just because they don't work like that. If you don't push them, they are not going to send you an email.
Can you help put pressure on from your end if Bobby M chooses to work with you?
Yes, of course. Of
Okay,
course, we can try to send an email and prepare a requirement saying why does he needs an appointment so he can have his residency permit renewed to go to his home country.
Okay, there you go. Bobby M, let us know if you want, oh, the stickers are in the chat. Thank you for that, whoever did that. And yes, did I hear there are Oregonians on here? You did, Carlene. Oh, that's Oregonians Loving Portugal over on YouTube at the moment. And Jim also, hello, Carlene. At least one other Oregonian here, so well done. Oregonians this evening, thank you for being here. Could you say a bit more, Gilda? Because there was that glowing testimonial from Clint and the preparation. Can you say a bit more about that, what you do, and how it is you bring confidence to people in these situations? Because that's the tense bit, isn't it? When you're sort of bearing your soul with the VFS. How do you prepare for that? How do you help people?
Well, because we've been doing this for a long time, 10 years now, we already know how to prepare the documentations for the visa. And we put all the documentations in order. Sometimes we add more documents that they required, but there is a reason for that. It's because we are used to know when they ask for extra documents. Okay,
yes.
So they provide a checklist. But our checklist is based on our experience. Okay.
Yes.
They have their checklist, their official checklist, but then we have our checklist, which is based on the law, on their official checklist, and also on the documents, on the additional documents that sometimes they ask.
Yep.
So when our clients go to the VFS or to the consulate, sometimes they say, oh, this is too much paperwork. We don't want to take all of these. And sometimes clients call us and say they don't want to take this document. And we analyze it and we say, okay, but that is fundamental for your case. So they really have to take that document.
Right. Okay. And that's the other thing, isn't it? Is based on your colleagues, your team's personal experience of dealing with so many cases. You're at a great advantage having seen so many people go before these processes, and it's that intelligence, isn't it? The intel that comes from those interactions as well that people are receiving from you.
Yes, it's a lot of practice, of experience, of being in the field.
Yep.
And I think that's the great value of our work.
Yes. Okay. Very good. Thanks, Gilda. A little bit sleepy on the questions tonight. So until there are more, it's nice hanging out here, but we're here. It's a town hall and it's a Q&A. So if you've got any questions,
we are so good that they don't have any doubts anymore.
That's right. I think so. It's sort of so conclusive and authoritative that or we're just having a nice time and people have been lulled into a sleepy state by our talking this evening. But if you have got questions, get them in. We've got 15
can
minutes. Please do.
Can I add something to the electric cars?
Of course, yeah, please do.
Subsidies or taxes. So as Nuno was explaining, you can deduct an electric car has 23% VAT, which is a lot on the price. So
yeah,
it's
right.
1/4. If you have a company, you can deduct that VAT. If your car is not more expensive than 62,500 euros. But as an individual, you can also register yourself with an activity like self-employed. You can be a consultant, or you can have a short-term rental, so you can have a very small business,
Interesting.
and you can buy the car for your business, and you can deduct the VAT on your behalf. So
Ah, that's
it's
a good
possible
hack.
for an individual to deduct the VAT
Yeah,
of an electric vehicle.
right.
Of course,
Could you?
there's always a downside, always,
Yes, yes, yes.
which is the flip of the coin, which is if you sell the car later on, you should invoice the car with VAT,
Yeah,
which means
okay.
that you must then deliver the VAT to the tax authorities.
Yes,
But if you sell the car to a private person, which has no business or no, so you don't need to sell, you don't need to send an invoice and declare that. So it's different when you sell to an end user, a person, a private person that has no businesses,
yeah,
or if you sell to a company. So
yes. Yeah, yeah, very
you
interesting.
can
Thank
escape that.
Can you help people set up in that way? So if they wanted to initiate an activity and become a consultant, could you help them with that process?
Sure, of course we do.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, that's good to know. All right, that's excellent. Another string to your bow there that we found out about tonight. That's great. Back to you. Thank you for that, Pedro. That's really helpful. Shay and Sarah are asking, do we need to write our personal? Oh, it just moved. Do we need to write our personal statement in English or Portuguese, Gilda? That's a good question, isn't it?
Yes. Well, when we prepare the processes for our clients, we usually prepare them in Portuguese because we know that the staff that it's going to analyze the process, they are Portuguese, so it doesn't make sense for us Portuguese to prepare the documents in English while they are going to be analyzed by Portuguese.
Yeah.
And also because we base those statements with some articles on the law to make it stronger. So it makes sense to be made in Portuguese, but I know that they also accept in English.
Right, that's a great answer. So Shay and Sarah, you can submit in English, but it does sound like it might be better and more effective to do so in Portuguese. And it'll get a bit of help from on the structure there with Gilda and team there. Thanks for that, Gilda. Let's stay with you from Thea. How long is the wait time for our residence card once we have our IMA appointment in May on the 2nd? And welcome. Let's give you an official welcome, Thea and Teresa, to Lisbon. You've been there since the 1st of February, so lovely to welcome you officially and see your journey here. Round of applause. Yes, thank you, Laronda. Yes, that timing. IMA appointment May 2nd. How long do you think would you predict for the residence card to show up, Gilda?
According to the law, it's 90 days.
Yep.
But it can be less or it can be more, depending on,
Yeah.
It depends.
It depends.
Get used to this
I think I
sentence
need
a
a
lot.
jingle. We need a jingle, don't we? The It
Yeah.
Depends jingle for this evening. Right.
But one thing I have to tell you, if because the legal time is 90 days
Yep.
to get it. After 90 days, you can start making pressure to IMA to ask for the cards. Before
Okay,
that, they
yes,
are not
yes.
going even to answer you.
Once you've got to the legal threshold, of course, you can put pressure on and remind them that by law they're meant to have delivered your residency card. That's great. Thank you very much. And Jim, pleased to hear about Mariana, who is also working with Mariana from Clint's comments there. Still waiting for a VFS appointment and glad to hear your appointment went well. Yeah, you're in good hands there, Jim, as you were, Clint, as well. Let's go back to Pedro. A really good question from Diana on this idea of establishing a business. If you form a business, don't you also then have to have income? That is, is there a risk of having it be deemed a hobby for taxes in Portugal if you don't have income? Pedro, I mean, you're going to have business expenses, so you better have an income, right?
Yes, of course. My intention was to show, and my argument was to show that this is possible for companies, but also for individuals.
Yeah.
So if you are not just so if you are even if you are retired and if you want to work a little bit with some consultancy and you make some freelance, so there's no limit. I don't have to have a lot of revenues. I can have just some revenues as long as it is real. So
Yes.
Nuno is waving. I think he wants to add something.
Go on, Nuno. Thanks,
Yeah.
Pedro.
Thank you, Pedro. And also, we know that some of you have do alojamento local, so temporary renting, and this is an activity. And Pedro is the man that can help you with all the accountant stuff and tax stuff. So yeah, so sometimes we think that business needs to be a proper business, but if you rent your home as alojamento local, you could have here a way of take advantage of the
some tax
Portuguese tax
efficiency from
system.
that. Yeah, very good. Thanks, Nuno, for adding that. Excellent stuff. It's like a riddle here. When is 90 days not 90 days? Thank you, Connie, for this. Good evening to you, Connie. Thank you very much for contributing this. 90 business days, not calendar days. So that could be significantly different there. Business days, Gilda. I guess public holidays aren't included in that either, are they? Weekends, public holidays. It could be quite some time if it's just 90 business days.
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. According to the law, it's 90 days period. Okay?
Really? Right, okay.
Yeah, but they started to make this interpretation, extended interpretation of the law. And when I say they, I mean by the public entities, the consulates and the IMA office, that it's 90 working days. But the law doesn't say that it's 90 working days.
Okay, thanks, Connie. I mean,
It's
Connie's right, isn't she?
but Connie, you're right, because if you go there, they will say, yeah, no, it's 90 working days. But
at which point you can say,
it's just
actually,
to say,
said,
go away, because we still have more time.
Okay, very good. Thanks, Gilda. I think that's all of our questions tonight. We're going to come to you for recipes that foreigners can cook safely without getting into a terrible mess with the pastel de nata. Jonathan, however, we spoke to Jonathan a little bit, didn't we, about a scouting trip, I think a couple of webinars ago. We are arriving in Portugal for our first scouting trip in 11 days. Any final tips? We go to Lisbon, Nazaré, Coimbra, Tomar, Faro, Lulé, Portimão, Tavira, Villarreal de Santo Antonio, and back to Lisbon. And I'm thinking, okay, how long is Jonathan here for doing that? A month? 2 months? No, 8 days. Oh, okay. Any tips? Yeah, slow down or come for longer, I think would be the top tip there, wouldn't it? And also wants to say a consultation with Expats Portugal was absolutely fantastic. I think that's probably you, Jerry, there, isn't it? We now have a NIF working on a bank account and have a meeting with Pedro tomorrow. Thanks, Jonathan, for that feedback. And from Thea, bring warmer clothes. Right now, the evenings can be a bit chilly. Good point. Right, let's go to recipes then. We have you, Luis, talking to us earlier on about stuffed. Is that lulas estofado, or does that mean literally translated an upholsterer's squid?
No, it would be recheado, so stuffed
Recheado,
with
recheado.
stuff
Okay.
inside. Yeah.
Would you recommend it to a foreigner if
Excuse
it's
me,
their
I have
Oh,
a question for Luis.
watch out.
Tell me.
Okay.
Luis, I always had this doubt. What are they
Uh-huh.
filled with?
What's in there, Luis?
Yeah, because I cannot feel the taste. Sometimes it's like sausage, sometimes it's like meat, sometimes I don't even understand what it is.
It really depends on which type of stuffed squid you have. We had two types. We had shrimp and meat, and in the meat one, which is the common one, we had just normal cow meat. You know how do you say that? Cow meat. That would be then we had pork meat as well. Then we had bacon cut in little cubes.
Oh, that sounds good.
Then you had a lot of onion, like chopped onion, chopped garlic. You had parsley. You had a bunch of other, condiments inside that would mix all of that, and then literally put everything inside. And ham as well, cut in little cubes. So it was this big mixture that we had inside of those those stuffed squid that we used to sell. So
There you
today
go,
I
Gilda. Does
have,
that help?
yeah,
Yes, yes, I always had this question.
Right, okay.
there's one brand that I don't know, you guys probably know it because if you buy stuffed squid in supermarkets, you will see Remar. They have like this brand that they sell stuffed squid. You know, it's like one of the factories in Margem Sul, close to Montijo.
Yeah.
These guys they stuff it with basically meat. Okay, so it's just like they have meat inside with chorizos and stuff like that, but everything it's how do you say when you put all the meat inside of that stuff?
It's like pressed,
Minced.
right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
How do you say? How do you say that? That
Minced.
all,
It's put through a mincer.
there you go. That goes
Yeah.
all the
Yes,
just like
like
the
some of
meat
the worst
all.
sausages you can imagine. Yes.
There you go. So
Okay.
they used to do like that. Okay, we only had the meat with that. One day I'll still do my factory because this is in my
You're
list
going to come
of,
back to
of
that.
things to
Okay.
do. Yeah. But
Right.
one of the ones that I used to do was shrimp one, which is very simple, like just shrimp and a bunch of other,
And it seems I never tasted that one, but it seems great
no,
Yep.
it
Very
was,
good.
with shrimp.
one of
Yep. And you so you can have all seafood or a surf and turf there. Would you recommend it to a foreigner to make though, Luis? Is there something easier perhaps that a foreigner might make?
uh, not so easy.
No.
Not
Okay. I
so
didn't
easy
think so.
because you have to know what you're doing. You have to like, and if you have fresh squid is good, but you need to know how to clean the squid, turn the squid around so it doesn't shrink very much when it's cooking, you
Oh
see.
my
So
goodness. Right.
there's
Complicated.
there's a few things to to be aware of, but generally speaking, just go outside and eat it in a restaurant. That would be good.
Don't bother,
Fresh is
is
still very
Luis's
good.
advice. Okay. All right. Thank you for that,
Yeah.
Luis. So good to see you, mate. And all the best to you. Hope to see you again soon.
Thank you.
Pedro Franco, what would you recommend to a foreigner, to a tourist in Portugal? What would be an easy thing, a quick win for them to make whilst they're on holiday or living here
Uh,
early on in their journey?
the dish that I like to cook is roast beef. So it's
English food.
yes, English food. So
Okay.
it's just you get this piece of roast beef of
Yes.
so the best part of the meat,
Yeah.
and I put it just in a pan. I don't do it in the oven with olive oil, garlics, a lot of garlic, and you let it fry on not very high fire.
Well, whilst
And
I
you just
approve,
you
because
just
it's
turn it
English.
around and
Yeah.
you are cooking slowly
Yeah.
but during 5 minutes maybe, and then you leave it for like 15 minutes in very, very small heat.
Yeah.
And then you take it out and you leave the meat to rest for like 2 hours or 3 hours. So you can make this for example, in the afternoon to eat for dinner because the
Oh,
meat needs to rest. And then you make the sauce with port wine,
yes.
mustard, and a little bit of cream if you like, and that's it. It's an amazing dish.
That sounds incredible. And some Portuguese potatoes, right? There's got to be some Portuguese potatoes with that. Very good. I'm liking the English twist on that as well. But the port wine coming together beautifully, like the Treaty of Windsor on a plate. Fantastic, Pedro. Thank you very much for that. Nuno, what would you recommend to the newbie?
Okay, so if you are visiting Portugal and as a tourist, so you will not be cooking. So probably an arroz de marisco.
Okay.
Very easy. It's basically rice with shrimp, but not only.
Yes.
So yeah, you could try it if
Okay,
you
so
like
And
like a
it.
seafood
tomato,
risotto,
and tomato,
people
and
might know that
tomato
as a
noodle.
paella. Yeah, okay. Well,
Yeah.
it's good advice though. Don't bother. I think you're all basically saying that, aren't you? Just go out and eat in Portuguese restaurants and get the real flavors. And Thea's saying, as long as Teresa and I can find the ingredients in a great recipe in an English or Spanish book, we can cook and cook for. All right, we'll come around to yours, Thea. That sounds great. And Teresa there. Any dish with bacalhau takes days to prepare properly. Fortunately, my husband is a chef, quality cook, so I benefit from that. That sounds wonderful. We'll come to yours as well, Diana. Finally, then, Gilda, what would you recommend?
Well, I love bacalhau, so everything with bacalhau for me is great.
But would you
But
recommend it to a foreigner to cook? I mean, that's asking for trouble.
well, I know how to do a very very quick bacalhau. Well, at least it's not very hard for me.
Right.
A bacalhau dish with smashed potatoes,
Yes.
spinach.
Yes.
How do you say?
Espinafres, the spinach. Yeah.
Spinafres,
Yeah.
onions,
Yes.
and cornbread.
Oh, really? Okay. And what's
Yes.
that called? Like bacalhau pareira?
Bacalhau com broa.
Okay, compro. Okay, excellent. Thank you very much. I'm thinking that's going to be awkward for a foreigner though, but and it only probably takes 5 days to be fair. Eat at restaurants as Nunu suggested. Everybody, obrigado a todos. Thanks everyone. Says Laronda and Pedro. Thank you so much, panel dream team. Just finally, then it's going to be a fantastic webinar. Could you tell us a bit more about it next week? We had a taster, didn't we, Astrid? We had Philippa of Lancaster, who was in her tomb at Battaglia, where we were last weekend, and we're going to be finding out more about her with a specialist author next week.
That's right, Carl. So it's going to be a very interesting one. So a bit different from what we've done in the past. A bit of a history tour of Portugal and a bit of a story about the previous royal family. So
Wonderful, wonderful.
One not to be missed.
Okay, excellent stuff. I think we better leave it there. Thanks everybody being here tonight. Bacalhau com broa e espinafres. There you go. Thank you very much, Gilda. Dream Team, you've been brilliant. Town Hall, excellent. Again, as usual, we'll see you again next week between 9 and 10 and that special webinar that Astrid was talking about then at 7:30. Take care. Bye for now. Ciao, ciao.